So, let's start talking about Enhancement Shaman in 10.2. I think I'm going to make a video about it for every single class or spec that I feel I am going to play. And I will give a bit more input about the changes that they actually made for that spec. So we had a lot of changes currently with like a lot of talent points actually switching places to give a bit more freedom and a bit more talent points usages that are more in line with what you're going to use in arenas or in dungeons or in raids, whatever. And they did also change a few things on the talent tree and the talents themselves to make them feel a bit better in general whenever you're using those talents. Now, you feel like I am currently very vague, but you will see once we are a bit further into the video. Right now, they changed a few things. I'm going to fill out the talent tree a bit, just to actually have a sense on the build I would be playing, I would say. And currently, there is a few things that we are going to discuss as well. We have only 1 point to spend still, so I'm going to put it there. We also need this. Probably going for that too. And then probably just remove 1 point, which is, I don't know. We will have to make choices down the line, but that would be probably the talents I'm going to go for in PvP, like in general. Of course, a lot of theory crafting will be done. I don't know if I'm playing Crash Lightning anymore, but I'm going to talk about it right now. So there are a few changes. Let's talk about the changes that are occurring right now. We have restoration waters or focused insight a lot sooner on the tree, which is a good thing. It goes in line with elemental shamans pretty much, where you have your healing buff kind of on the top of the tree, which is a good thing. We still suffer from a lot of talents with like double points. I just removed Thorium Suffocation so you can see. We still have Molten Assault as a 2-pointer. We still have a Hot Hand as 2-pointers. We have still a lot of talents that we have to use if we want to play Lava Lash very consistently. And we still have a lot of 2-pointers just in general, like for example Elemental Weapons. We have Primal Maelstrom, Elemental Assault, Legacy of the Frost Witch with also Witch Doctors and Ancestry, and also Static Accumulation, which makes it very hard to actually have all the goodies first and foremost, but also feel like you're playing an Enhancement Shaman that is more complete. Right now it's either you're choosing for a more physical damage approach, with either a bit of frost damage because you have now Legacy of the Frost Witch which gives you more damage for frost abilities, which is a good thing. But then how do you get Hailstorm without like gimping yourself on other aspects? So you still have to use a lot of those talent points to get there. We also have Elemental Assaults now, where Storm Strike damage is increased by 20%, but the generating of stack of Maelstrom weapon will be also used for Lava Lash and Ice Strike. So whenever you're doing an Ice Strike or a Lava Lash, you will have a guaranteed weapon, Maelstrom weapon from them. So that's actually a very good thing, which makes the build more smooth in PvP and raids and dungeons in general. I think currently they're doing pretty well in PvE, if I'm not mistaken. In PvP, we are still a hot mess defensively. We still are an RNG beast pretty much, but outside of RNGs, we're lacking on consistency, which is a good and a bad thing, I guess, depending on who you're speaking to. So let's talk about the changes, then I'm going to talk to the actual problems that we have on the tree and what are the solutions to actually make them feel a lot better, just in general in PvP, but also in raids and dungeons probably. So the few changes, again, like I said, refreshing waters and focus insight is a lot higher on the tree. We have Wind Fury Totem instead of Feral Lunge, so it was like swapped between them. So you can go for Wind Fury Totem very easily if you want to. There is like also an option to not go for it. I do think that if you're playing like a Wind Fury build kinda, and with RNG, you can have the extra auto attack swings, which at the end of the day just adds more damage. But Feral Lunge, still a very nice option to use to get on top of the enemy, depending on who you're facing, of course. If you're facing melees, I don't think Feral Lunge is very useful anyways. Doomwinds is still like a standalone talent, which is a 1.5 minute CD for an 8-second burst window, which is very short, unfortunately. They added a talent to actually remove a bit of button bloat, especially in PvP, where if you're playing the build that I suggest, which is this one, you're pretty much going to spam lightning bolts all the time. That is pretty much how your build is going, because the damage is quite similar to the elemental blast. And whenever you're getting a proc from deeply rooted elements, or if you're playing ascendants, your storm strikes basically gives you a lightning bolt or a chain lightning, which depletes your maelstrom weapons anyways, so you don't really have a lot of time to actually use elemental blast in general. And even if you can use it, lightning bolt is also a very solid option to just do damage in general. Like, I think it's really close to 1-to-1 damage. Of course, if you're building mastery, which in my opinion you still go for haste, I feel whenever I'm playing full mastery it goes really wrong most of the time, especially whenever I don't have the RNG. But if I have haste, I have more consistency, and generally I will have a little bit less damage on elemental blast, which will be kind of the same than lightning bolt in general. So I would then focus on lightning bolt. But now you have a talent which is Tempest Strike, which basically just removes the elemental blast out of the equation, and you have to see if the talent is worth the first and foremost the talent point or the removal of elemental blast. So Storm Strike, Ice Strike, and Lava Lash have a 100% chance to discharge electricity at your target, dealing 35% of attack power nature damage, which is going to scale with mastery, which is also a good thing, I guess. And it will be activating every single time whenever you're using a Storm Strike, Ice Strike, Lava Lash, and I assume whenever you're going to go a Storm Strike and you get like a Storm Flurry, it will also proc on that. 35% is low. You're not going to feel the damage right away. I think if Elemental Blast is 175%, and let's say it does 100k normal like hit, you have to see that also the Maelstrom weapons adds more damage to it. It will feel not that strong. It will feel like it's going to do like 5k, I think, every time you're going to do a Storm Strike. So if your Storm Strike does 60k damage in total, it would be only like 5k extra or 10k extra. I will have to test it on the PTR, which I can actually show you guys on the PTR as well. So if I can go on the PTR, I will show you right away, which is also a good option, I guess. But in general, it's going to be activated at like all the time, so it might be very strong or it might be quite poor, but I'm going to test it right away for you guys. We have also still a few changes here and there, which is basically a Legacy of the Frost Witch, which gives you now frost damage increase, which is going to feel much better, because whenever you're playing Hailstorm, which is something that you actually want to play with that build, but it's very hard to get to because you have to spend 3 points to get to that point. So maybe you just remove Wind Fury Totem, and then Crush Lightning, I guess, so you can actually go for these points more easily. But we will have to see and test, which will then increase 25% increased damage on Frost Shock, which is also increased by Ice Strike. So I guess it's going to hurt pretty well. But I'm going to go on my Shaman right away. So real quickly, I'm going to go on my Shaman. You cannot see it right now, I think, but once I'm in game and in front of the dummy, I will for sure show you guys. I'm going to mute my in-game sound because it's going to probably be very loud. So there's also a change on Elemental Assault, basically going to give you increased Maelstrom weapons because of your Lava Lash and Ice Strike. Which is going to add on the effect, which is a good thing. Again, you want to have now 2 points in Elemental Assault with any build pretty much right now, I guess, because it's going to smooth out the whole like build. Of course, if you're playing a Lava Lash build, you're not going to press as much Storm Strike, especially if you're going for Mastery. I don't think you have the GCDs to actually press on CD Storm Strike, but I guess if you're pressing Lava Lash and you're pressing Ice Strike, if you do play that, you will get like increased Maelstrom, which is something you were probably lacking without the Elemental Assault aspect of it. PvP talents, nothing changed. So the first few problems I see are that Lava Lash builds are still requiring too many points. We have 1 point for Lava Lash, pretty much. We have Molten Assault. We have Hailstorm, which is probably you have to take it anyways because you want to have Hot Hand. So you want to go for Hailstorm or Fire Nova if you're like doing dungeons or whatever. Hot Hand, and then that's basically 1, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 points just for a Lava Lash build. Well, again, if you're doing a Wind Fury or physical build, pretty much everything is like taken super easily, because you don't have 2 pointers, and just only one of them, which is elemental weapons, which is something you are going to take regardless if you are a Lava Lash build or not. So now we are like in an issue where we have too many 2 pointers, like 2 talent rank points, which is very annoying to deal with if you want to like build some good builds and some fun builds. It feels like restrictive. It feels like, why would you do that, pretty much? You could easily put Ashen Catalyst together with Flashing Flames, or you could put Hot Hand together with Molten Assault way up the talent, or way down. You can also just put Lava Lash into Hailstorm and put Molten Assault together with Hot Hand, still with 2 points, so you don't have like a power creep of some sort. But putting 2 points above 2 points and then like 1 pointers here and there, it's very counteractive. It's just not fun. It's just not ideal, I would say. So that would be my suggestion. Try to regroup some talents from the Lava Lash builds, I would say. I would also say like having 2 pointers on every second part of the last row is really annoying, because I can't play Primordial Wave if I'm playing like a normal build. I have to get out of my way and maybe remove one of those incredible talents to go for Primordial Wave. So if you're playing like a nature build, you can, with a lot of mastery, you can still go for Primordial Wave, but it's very hard to go Splintered Elements, for example. You have to give up a lot of things, maybe even Feral Spirits. And do you want to give up Feral Spirits? There is a world where you're not playing it, so you are like 2 points extra. But the problem is you will lose a lot of those Maelstrom weapons from it, and also it's easy, it's a fast CD, it's also adding a bit of damage. It's not incredible, but it's still adding some damage. So it's very hard to actually like lose those 2 points to get like Primordial Wave and maybe something else. But you will have to test it around. I'm going to go on my enhancement shaman on the PTR. Hopefully it's already up to date, so I can actually test it out. Where are my weapons? Those are my weapons. So again, I'm going to show you guys right away. Whoa, test, boom, boom. Excuse me. All right, we are here. So we are currently with our enhancement shaman. I guess the changes are up. So we have Tempest Strike. I think I'm going to play the build that I'm supposed to be, I guess, from the video. But let's see. We have the details here, so we'll have to test it out as well. So I guess Primordial Wave, you want to play that because you have the 2 set, but I guess for now we're not going to play that. I'm going to remove Wind Fury Totem. Unfortunately, I'm going to remove Feral Lunge. I'm going to put those 2 points into Legacy of the Frost Witch. And I think I also want to have Lava Lash pretty much, because I want to test that. And we're going to disregard Lava Burst, I guess. That's the plan, because it was an Elemental Blast, but now we have Tempest Strike. And you see it does 10k nature damage. It's alright, I guess, because again, you have like the PvP modifiers. I will have to see on the dummy. I will have to test it on the dummy. I think that's a good change. I will have a few things changed on the bars, because not everything is correct. So I'm going to put on the shift one, I guess. All right, so we have everything. I'm gonna try it out. So I'm gonna put my elemental weapons, so we have all the damage possible, and let's try to burst as much as we can, right? So you're not going to see too much, because again there is a lot of damage bloat. But I'm gonna pop everything I can here. There's a lot of lag. I'm very sorry, because I'm playing on NA servers while I'm EU, so that's unfortunate. Unfortunately, we don't have too much how it's called, procs from the... okay, now we have a proc. I can just do that. We have a lot of damage, of course. And I get a lot of procs because I have a lot of haste. So it's very funny how I am actually just spamming Wind Strike and Storm Strikes in general. But yeah, the damage is really cool. I'm going to say that. But of course there's Chain Lightning, unfortunately, because we are cleaving, kinda. But if you're seeing currently damage, Tempest Strike actually adds a lot of damage. And we still have Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning, which is a good thing. I'm going to say that you have to disregard a lot of the damage on the Chain Lightning stuff, because again, you're cleaving and that's going to add a lot more damage in general. But the Lightning Bolt, again, we're critting for 300k. Of course, it's like the training dummy, PvP training dummy, it's going to change. We have Storm Strikes. It has a two-part kind of thing, so it's not only hitting 30k, but it hits for a bit more. And then you have Tempest Strikes adding up even more damage, and if it crits, it can also crit. Goes for 30k, so basically you can do a 90k kind of Storm Strike pretty much. That's only one Storm Strike, by the way. You get a Chain Lightning, kinda. I think that's from the Ride the Lightning stuff. We have Ride the Lightning. We have Tempest, which is 13% of one Storm Strike. Storm Strike did also with Storm Flurry a bit of damage, so it did 66k. Tempest Strikes adds pretty much like a 20k extra, which is kind of nuts. Again, like I said, it works on Storm Flurry and it doesn't diminish, so it's going to do 10k for example, so it's very consistent. Wind Fury attack also, just from that single point, we did like 170k just with only one press. For example, I'm going to do Flame Shock, so I'm in PvP combat and I'm just going to press it, and it did pretty much a lot of damage. Of course Chain Lightning just disregarded. It did a bit less damage than that. We did like in just one press on the training dummy 130k, which is acceptable, I guess. We have Tempest Strike 12k, we got Storm Strike did 31k, we did Wind Fury to attack and Chain Lightning. So it does feel alright. Here, for example, I'm just going to press it. Did a bit more. Again, Chain Lightning, try to see the single target portion, which is Chain Lightning pretty much. 25k, and then we get like 14k Tempest Strike and then 80k Storm Strike. Again, it did crit, which is very cool again to have that, but it's not really going to happen every single way. And if you're going to burst right away with everything you got, it does a lot of damage, I guess. So just going to do for a bit like just the initial press from the Doom Winds, and it did like insane burst damage. So once I'm going to press it, it's going to be go time pretty much. Like in 2 Storm Strikes I get like 140k. I got Tempest Strikes actually hitting for a lot, like 90k in total. So I think in PvP it's safe to say that everyone is going to probably play that. Because Elemental Blast is very cool, it does a lot of damage. Let's be honest, whenever it crits, it's very noticeable. But whenever you have to play defensive, you have to use a lot of those healing surges to actually heal yourself or your allies, which again diminishes the aspect of Elemental Blast, because you have to press it on CD pretty much to have a lot of value for it. But Tempest Strikes, which is right now the new talent that we have, is going to be active every single press you're going to do, because you're going to either press Storm Strike, Ice Strike, or Lava Lash. There is no in between, and every single time you're going to press Storm Strike, Ice Strike, or Lava Lash, you're going to add even more damage on the mix. So initially I thought it was doing like not that much damage because it's 35% attack power, but the more I look at it, the more interested I become with Tempest Strike. Of course, I'm going to say if I'm going to play like Elemental Blast, let's say we were playing one Elemental Blast training dummy kind of thing, I'm going to show you guys. It's going to do a lot of damage, and that's for sure, especially since we have the Forset and we have some mastery and also a lot of haste. It's going to feel alright, right? If I'm going to press it, I'm going to try to get my 10 Maelstroms. Of course, it's very slow because I'm not really lucky there. Let's get the 10 Maelstroms. Boom. Boom, and then a big Elemental Blast. Yes, it does a lot of damage, That's for sure. Where is you? Where is you? Here. Elemental Blast did 177k, but I feel like I have to still press that instead of Lightning Bolt, which is going to do kind of the same damage. You see, if I just go back to where I was with the PvP training dummy a bit previously, like I would say, I did like one press Lightning Bolt, it did a 142k normal hit, but on top of that we have Tempest Strike actually adding me 6% more damage. So now is it worth it to have Elemental Blast that is actually going to use the spot of a Lightning Bolt just to get a few more stats for haste, crit and mastery? Or have Tempest Strike, which is going to be active every single time. You already see with Retribution Paladin, with Crusader Strikes, going to be replacing the melee attacks, how incredibly strong it is. It does a lot of damage, especially if they're building Mastery. And I assume if you're building Mastery with Tempest Strikes, you're going to also have crazy burst potential with it. So I think with a Lava Lash build, I think 100% you're going to play Tempest Strike. But you have to remember that it is a passive thing. It's not going to be very noticeable while you're fighting, but on the details you're always going to have like between 5% and 10% Tempest Strike damage, which is going to be pretty noticeable, especially in cleave situations. If you have Crash Lightning, it's going to proc on everyone, so it's going to do some incredible damage. So again, I think it's a huge success, that talent. I'm going to applaud Blizz with how they thought about it, because there is definitely button bloat for Enhancement Shaman. I think nobody that is playing Enhancement Shaman actually says, oh, we have so little buttons. That's not going to happen. I think Enhancement Shaman is one of those spec that have a lot of intensity on how you're pressing your CDs and GCDs. But I think that addition is not going to take away what Enhancement Shaman is, but it's going to be adding on top of what you already have, which is pretty much Lightning Bolt spam. Lightning Bolt is actually an incredible spell right now, which is going to replace Elemental Blast pretty much instantly, and it will open up a lot more builds. But again, the problems which I find is difficult to deal with is the talent point bloat, which are the 2 pointers on the for last row, but also on the sides where your Lava Lash builds is very intensive. Like points wise, you have to drop a lot of those points on the left side or the middle side to actually make it work. Especially with the current layout, you really want everything you can have, because every single talent is actually a high value talent. So yes, you have to make a lot more choices, but is it necessarily something you want to have every single time? Sometimes you want to play like a Lava Lash build with also the goodies of a Storm Strike build. So hopefully Blizzard can actually see that. So if I can judge right now the Enhancement Shaman for 10.2, I think there is still going to be a lot of changes. So if they are going to add more changes, I'm going to make an update video about it. But currently I think it's a 7 out of 10, especially if the tier set is a bit sadish, I would say, for PvP, because it's like divided by 10%, I would say, so by 2, so it's 10% increased damage on nature damage, so it's going to do a lot of damage again. But summoning a Feral Spirit that reduces the cooldown of Primordial Wave is 3.5 seconds, and you have to talent for Primordial Wave, which is something you have to go out of your way to take it. So I kind of want it to be a thing, Primordial Wave, but it's very hard to make that thing happen if you have to drop every single goodie that you have on your talent tree. But anyways, let me know what you think about Enhancement Shaman, and let's discuss about it in the comment section below. Bye.